Rural Heritage on RFD TV is brought to you by Rural Heritage Magazine, a bi-monthly magazine featuring articles about farming and logging with draft animal power, small-scale diversified family farming and homesteading, and other aspects of our rich rural heritage. Rural Heritage Magazine, borrowing from yesterday to do the work of today. For subscription information, please call 319-362-3027 or order online at www.ruralheritage.com.
We're going to be working today on a nice little project. I'm sure many of you like to eat. So far I haven't found anybody that I run across anywhere that doesn't like to eat. Me, I love to eat and I love to cook. And one of the best things that I like to do is cook out over an open fire. Especially vegetable soup, deer stew. I like to do roasts. Basically about anything that involves meat. I just love to make stews. And what I use whenever I cook like that is I've got a place down in my woods. And I make a set of cooking irons. Tripod, we'll call them a tripod if you will, that they're going to hook together with a loop to hang S-hooks from over the top of a fire to hang like a cast iron pot. So what I've got here is I've got 3 pieces of steel. I pre-cut these. They're 60 inches long. They're 1/2 inch diameter steel. I've got 2 that's square steel, and then I've got 1 here in the center that's round stock. I do that for a reason, I guess, if you will. I like for the side pieces or my legs, depending on what application I use it as, to be able to twist. Now, I like to have the round bar if I'm to run those instead of a tripod, and I put 2 stakes in the ground and run a crossbar like a spit. I like to have a round bar across the top of that. Why, it doesn't really matter. I just like the looks of it. It looks more traditional instead of having a square there. Everything's square. It breaks it up. It's appealing to the eye. So what I've done here is I've got this little helper here to hold this stuff. Instead of doing one at a time, I'm going to do all 3. I've got all 3 in the fire, and I'm trying to heat the end, just like that. And why I'm doing that is just to save time. Instead of me standing here holding and cranking to get the same amount of work, I'm going to have all these 3 ready. So what I want to do first is I want to put the point on one end, and that's the point that's going to hold the ground. Go into the ground to make the tripod. When the weight holds against it and the weight disperses down the legs, it pushes into the ground and holds everything steady and firm. Now I do that, point the ends, because later on we're going to do some things up here on the other end that's going to make everything a little off center to hold. So while everything's balanced, everything's centered down the whole piece of steel, we're going to work on pointing the end. So we're going to come out with this one first. It looks like it's ready. Right out here toward the edge of the hand. You can tell I'm elevating my left hand. It's not flat. Everything's not flat to the anvil like this. I can do it now, just squaring everything up. I'm elevating. That gives my hammer more work without me really doing any more work. All right. That looks like a nice point. I believe that'd go on the ground just fine. Now, we've got our other 2 done. And I like for them to come out even. As you can see, I've got a 1/4 inch or a little bit difference in these 2. Now that could have been the way I cut them, or it could have been the way I drew them out. And I want them just about right because it does make a difference. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take this longer one and I'm going to set it off to the side. And this shorter one I'm going to put back in the fire. No, I'm not going to cut part of my long one off. I'm going to go in the fire. I'm going to heat that end up. I'm going to draw that out another 1/4 inch. And then hopefully, whenever I compare the 2, we're real close. And that's just me being particular, but it does make a difference when you do your twist. When everything's the same length and you do them in the same fashion and that same way, everything should be pretty close to the same when you look at them, if you lay them next to one another. I like them whenever they look a little bit mirrored to one another. They don't have to be perfect, but close don't hurt. Okay, so come back a little bit. Like I said, we just want to get about 1/4. You say, well, how do you tell? Well, I don't know, I'm guessing. But the only way to really tell is to take it back out, stand it up, compare it to the other one, and we'll see if we need to do any more with it or not. That's awful close. We're going to go with that. So we've got these ends, we know we're hot all the way up through there. I'm going to go ahead and put these in the water and quench them a little bit, because I am going to have to handle that other end. So we're going to douse this one and let it start to cool out a little bit so we can hang on to them. I don't want to get burnt no more than what I have to. I'm not so worried about this other, the center one, being a little shorter, because it's not going to have twists in it. It's not going to really have anything to compare to, so it can be a 1/4 off or so. That's not going to hurt anything. Okay. So now, let's set these on and let those cool some more. I'm just going to work on this one. I'm just going to real easy, with some respect, find out how hot that is. We won't need this anymore, so we'll get this out of the way. But we are going to need this. Get Rex's cone out here. We'll form our loop with the cone. So we want to get a little better of a cross section hot. Last time all we cared about was just the end. Now we want to get a little bit more of the section hot, so it'll take a couple heats to get what we want to do down on this. We'll drag a little more coal over. What we want to do is we kind of want to make a little sandwich in here. We want heat on the bottom, coal on the top, holding the heat down. You're heating on both sides a little bit better that way. You can't see what you're doing because you got coal over the top of it, but after a while and some experience, you get a good idea of what's going on in there without having to have your face in it or looking directly into the fire. These pieces of iron we're making today, they're very colonial and very traditional. They date way back, especially to the era that our founding fathers formed our country. Another thing that I appreciate about these types of pieces and this kind of work, using the same tools a lot that they used back then, same methods, a lot of the same techniques, same tooling. There's a certain gratification and satisfaction, I really know. So I'm ready to come out of the fire. We're going to go to the cone, and we're going to start to form our loop. It may take us a couple heats to get it this way we want it. It's fine. So kind of determining the size of our loop that we want to make. It needs to be large enough to accept both pieces that we want to put in it, but yet small enough that it doesn't have a tremendous amount of play. Okay, so we've got our basic loop shape form. Now what we're going to want to do is center that loop on top of our whole shaft. So we're going to go back into the fire. So as you notice here, I've got this up out of the fire. I don't want to heat up as much of a section. I'd like to just heat it in the eye and just past the eye towards my hand, just a little bit enough to get my, where I want to bend that eye back straight, close to where that loop starts. try this. So I'm going to use that point to my advantage. Now I'm going to hit with my hammer right there where that comes together. And just by eye, center my loop. All right, so we're going to call that one good. We'll put that out of the way so we don't get into it. Now we're going to attack a little different. Now we're going to go in with this square stalk. Start to take that heat across there. While that does, we'll get that to stay down in there. I've got a little jig that I'm going to use just to help me out a little bit. I made this tool, nothing real fancy. Basically what it is it's a piece of square tubing with the end welded onto a shaft. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the end of that, and then I'm going to bend that back around. What that does is that just takes some of the air of my air off. If I was to do that freehand over the anvil and make my bend down, sometimes I get them too long, sometimes I get them too short. So I made this little piece fit in the vise. I get it hot, I run it in there, I bend it back around to me, and then I've always got the same amount of material to work with each time, real close. So we're going to go ahead and get this set up. That's somewhere around 4 inches. Now, you got to get this baby hot. Basically, we're just going right in to the end, pulling it back as far as we can, then push it out. We're going to come over to the anvil. We're going to set this end in. Just like that. So that's what we'll have to use this extra to make our U loop for hanging our, that's basically what we're going to hook with into our eyelets. So I'm going to go back in the fire with that end that we need to bend down into the fire, because I don't care about getting the other part hot, I just want to bend it. So we're going to come over here to the vise. I'm going to put this in there to get it good tight. Get a hold of it with pliers, bend it around here so where we can get it with the hammer, as I said. Control that a lot easier. That's the hardest part, is getting it to there. Then we're going to finish it out here on the end. Okay, we got a little bit of a run right there to get rid of that. We're going to come out there at the anvil and straighten that out where it went to running off a little bit. Okay, that's good enough right there. So now we want to try to make our other piece look like that. All right, we'll call that one good. Now we got a little bit of difference, don't we? So they're bent just right. Down here, all I got to do is draw that out and shape it back up to make it stand up square to the other. So, we've got our U's made, we've got our loop piece made. What we going to want to do next is, if we want a decorative twist in this, which I think we need to heat up a section somewhere through here and then put the twist in it. That really dresses one of these up, makes them look like they ought to. We're going to come across here. We can't really get down in the fire like what we was before. We're going to go across the top. Okay, now we've got our pieces in here. We're heating them up. We want to put them in the vise next, and we're going to make some twists in that and give that a nice spiral decorative look. And so we're going to be working kind of fast. We're going to be going to the vise, locking it down, taking a pair of twisting wrench and turning those, and we want to try to turn the same amount of lengths. And I'm going to use the vise as a guide. I'm going to go to the edge of the vise, clamp it in, and that'll kind of guide me. So that's a half a turn, half, and then straight. So we're going to put just a nice, easy, elongated twist. Now we're going to take our brush and brush it off. As you can see, we're a little out of line. We're going to use this wood block to line that right back. And it's just a couple of licks, and we have that back into true. But we can't celebrate too much because we still got another one over here that's either taking heat or losing it. We've got all that accomplished. We're going to put these together. And we're going to set these off to the side and let these cool. We still got to make some S-hooks yet. So we'll let that cool out. Now I have 3 different lengths of S-hooks here because that gives you 3 different options for adjustment if you're going to use the hook. One is 8 inches, one is 12 inches, and one is 16 inches. We're going to put all these in the fire at one time. We're not going to do a bunch of scrolling. We're just going to do some simple bends on this. And we're going to begin to heat this up. Now we're going to use the cone this time to do all of our scrolls, and we'll do our first scroll, or S-hook, I'm sorry. We're going to come around something about like that. So that's our first part of our S-hook bend. So we'll put the other end back in the fire, and we'll dig us another. So out through the cone, get our pliers, bending opposite of the other one. Hook. A little bit there. Got a little bit too thin on that first go around. As you can see, I'm just a little bit out of square. We can take care of that by coming to the anvil. Taking care of that. Anything else we see that might need a little extra adjustment? I believe that will work. Alrighty, so we got our S-hooks made, our tripod made. All we got to do is clean it up, pretty it up, and it's ready to hang a pot of beans. So that's basically your cooking tripods, your cooking spits. We sure do appreciate you watching. Thanks a lot. May your days be filled with blue skies and your nights in peaceful dreams. May you always ride with the wind at your back and your face a gentle breeze. May you shine like a star wherever you are and all you say and do. And may life treat you kind with much happy time. This is my wish for you.
I have a Harvest Right freeze dryer to preserve all my wonderful food from the garden, and also because I want to be prepared for a rainy day. But I've also found some fun culinary things that I love to do with my freeze dryer. Okay, I have a few recipes that are going to rock your world. raspberry icing, raspberry lemonade, and southern lemonade. I just can't keep the secret to myself. Freeze-dried fruits of any kind are like candy, but adding the fruit to icing or a drink is like tasting a piece of heaven. To make the powder, you just blitz the fruit in a food processor or a coffee grinder. For the lemonade and raspberry drink, you add 1 part powder to 1 part sugar and add water to taste. For the icing, I make a simple buttercream icing and add 1/2 cup of raspberry powder. You can make lemonade curd, lemonade icing, lemonade meringue, and more. For more information about this Harvest Right freeze dryer, go to harvestright.com. Today I've got a guest with me, my daughter Amelia, and she is going to be a very big help. We're going to make Alabama peanut pie. I am so excited about this. This gives a little bit of a different twist on a pecan pie. Instead of that, you'll show your guests at Thanksgiving and Christmas a peanut pie. They're beautiful, they're tasty, and I like it here in Alabama because we're one of the top growers of peanuts in all of the United States. All right, let's get started. The first thing that we're gonna do, you wanna be mixing these really good, is getting your eggs nice and mixed and fluffy. I have in here some cayenne pepper, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of salt, and I'm gonna put brown sugar and about 2 tablespoons of flour. Okay, and then I'm gonna put a vanilla bean in, and if you can't find these, you can order them off of everybody's favorite place, Amazon of the Middle. You can keep your vanilla bean pods and put them in sugar, and then you'll have vanilla sugar anytime you want to do a dessert that you don't want an overpowering vanilla flavor in it, but you need a little bit of vanilla. Okay, now I want to trade spots with you, and I want you to mix this up really good. Make sure all of that is really good and blended. And I'm going to make sure these are good and fluffy. Okay, now I'm coming over to you, and I'm going to pour in the eggs, okay, and Alaga syrup. Of course, you can use any kind of light corn syrup. If you spray your measuring cup with a little bit of nonstick spray, it'll come out really easy. All right, and then a little bit of vinegar to balance out all of the flavors. Melted butter, and we have everything we need for this pie. Okay. Peanuts are going to go straight into your prepared pie. Here you go. You want to put them in? Perfect. Perfect, perfect. And then pour your mixture right on top of the peanuts. The peanuts will rise to the top when you bake your dish. I've got a preheated oven at 350 degrees, and this is gonna go into the oven for about 40 minutes or until it sets. You don't wanna overdo it, but you'll know. You'll know exactly what to do. Okay, putting it in the oven. Can't wait to have this. Okay, it's time for the final reveal. Here it is, Alabama peanut pie. It's the best you'll ever have.
This program is available for purchase. To order your copy, please call 319-362-3027 or visit www.ruralheritage.com. Rural Heritage is a bi-monthly magazine dedicated to draft animal farming and logging, as well as other aspects of our rich rural heritage. It is published by Mishka Press, which also offers a complete line of Back to the Land books, DVDs, and calendars. Call or write for a catalog or subscription information, or visit our website at www.ruralheritage.com.